Hello, you're listening to Dead End Road TV. This is the Dead End Road Show. I'm Bill. Joining me is Ian.
Hello.
I guess it's funny. Like we've been alternating weeks where I do an intro and then when I don't.
Did you think I was gonna do it this week?
What? No, I just last week we just kind of were bullshitting and so then we just recorded it.
Oh, I thought you meant sometimes in the beginning you would throw to me and then I would say something, but I really had nothing to say this time.
Oh, so. Yeah. No, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I was just like last week we didn't I didn't do the official hi, this is what we're doing right now. And then but right. The week before we did it, so we're alternating whenever I do an official thing and when I don't.
Yeah.
So
it all depends on whether we're actually talking about something before we start recording, and then you're like, oh, maybe we should just start recording, and then it's
pretty much
podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, we've already talked a lot this week, so it's
That's true. You're sick of me now.
We're running out of things, but it's a thing where in the back of my head I'm almost worried that I don't want to turn our friendship into nothing but content fodder where it turns into a situation where we're talking and it's oh no, we have to save that for a podcast or something. I don't want that
hasn't happened
be the
yet,
case.
Though.
I know, but in the back of my head I'm I don't want that to ever be the case.
Right.
But it hasn't, and you're right, it hasn't happened yet. But that's just in my stupid anxiety brain.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
Of things that I worry about.
Yeah, the moment one of us is no, stop talking, we should save it, then we might have to rethink things.
Right, yeah. In fact, but yesterday, when we were in the car, I said the opposite. I was we should get out all the hockey now so we don't do it on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was just too much of it, and nobody wants to hear that anyway. So
right, because last week I cut out 20 minutes of it.
Yes.
And the show is still an hour and a half. So
it just wasn't going to work.
No, it wasn't. Especially because by the time I put up the episode, it was it was still kind of relevant if anybody cared about hockey, but it just because there's more news coming out about I'm not gonna. No, hockey is ending right now.
That's it.
That's it. But yeah, we went to Asbury Park last night for the first show we'd been into for over a year.
Yeah, closer to 18 months, right? I think February of 2020 or January was the last one.
I guess so. I can't even remember what the last one was.
I can't quite recall it either, but it's been a while.
Would it have been that? Was it the Menzingers at?
I'm thinking it was, yeah, in Garwood.
Yeah. That had to have been one of the last ones.
It was definitely winter.
Right, yeah. Because I remember the last event was the Penguins-Devils game.
Oh, that's right. That was the week that the lockdown was beginning.
Yeah, that was because a few days later, the NBA shut down, so that was one of the last things.
Yeah, it was actually the last. I think the last game that the Devils and the Penguins played that season up until the bubble.
It was definitely the last game the Penguins played.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has been a long ass time.
It has.
For any kind of public event for the two of us.
And I gotta say, it didn't feel weird.
No, I really thought it would have.
Me too.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird. I honestly thought there would have been more masks.
So did I. Yeah, I kind of took a look behind me because we were near the stage. We got there pretty early, right when the doors opened.
Yeah.
And we had a little section of people around us that were all wearing masks, which was nice. I appreciated that. But then, once the place filled up, I looked behind me and it was, if I had to guess the percentage, I would say maybe a third of the entire place was wearing masks, if that.
Yeah, I was maybe saying 40% is being generous.
Yeah.
And the security that was in front of us, because we were a row behind the barricade, that guy didn't have a mask, but then like the techs did have masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that was just kind of odd.
And it's like I don't necessarily blame people, because the messaging for so long had been, if you're vaccinated, then you're safe to not wear them anymore.
Right. But it's been all over the place like lately, and it was a full show. It was a sold out show. That was the other thing. Like going into it, we didn't know what sold out meant anymore.
Right.
So like because they didn't say like a number of tickets or anything. You know, they just said it was sold out. So it's like, is that the old capacity, or like is this less people? Is this, you know, what's the situation?
Yeah.
And it seemed to be the old capacity. It was packed. We were packed in there. Especially at the front, you know. So it's like you're in tight with people. It's like there wouldn't have been a situation where I wouldn't have worn mine. Like if it was outdoors, that's a different story, but
yeah, me too.
Yeah. We didn't even say who we saw.
No,
I just realized that. We saw Japanese Breakfast, and Mannequin Pussy opened for them.
Yeah, quite the combination.
Really was, yeah.
I love both bands, but it was an interesting combination to see one play right after the other.
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, they're friends, because Missy from Mannequin Pussy starred in the Be Sweet video, Japanese Breakfast video for that. And so, yeah, they were on the first leg of this tour. But yeah, they do have a different vibes, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Mannequin Pussy, they killed it. They put on such an awesome set. They like backloaded the set with their older stuff, which is just sort of straight up, like, you know, punk, like just full on aggressive, you know.
Yeah, verging on like hardcore punk.
Yeah, definitely. Like those songs are like a minute and a half, like each, and they were just going through them like, you know, like tissue paper.
Yep.
Just incredible. Their bassist, Bear, like just kicks so much ass. That dude, he's awesome.
Really good. And people went nuts when he had his the song that he does vocals on.
Yeah, that's actually off their new EP too.
It is, yeah.
Which is is similar to their earlier stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool, like the energy that they brought, because like even the singer said like this is catharsis, and it's something that she hadn't been able to do in so long.
Yeah.
And now she's getting to do it again, and it was just like a really cool like first live show back, you know.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah. But yeah, like in the first like half of their set, they played a lot of stuff off of Patience, which I get is much more palatable for like a crowd that is expecting Japanese Breakfast. It's like more melodic, poppier stuff. But that album also has more like standard punk. Like it's such a good mix. Their sound, like the way it's evolved with that album, they've like really come into their own with it. Like everybody went nuts for Drunk 2, like I knew they would.
Yeah, like it felt like a large portion of the crowd was really into it, like they were there to see them.
They did, yeah, they did, which was really cool to see.
Which is great, yeah.
And I definitely think like if people didn't know them, they got some new fans, which is what you want to see for an opener.
Definitely.
And for a show that only has 2 acts is like a godsend. And when the acts are as stellar as these two, it's like, it's perfect.
It is. It's perfect. It's what you want. You are in there. It starts at 8 o'clock. You're out by 10:30.
Yeah,
it's terrific.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then Japanese Breakfast was just out of this world. The performance.
Yeah, it was great. It felt a little bit like redemption. I think for us seeing them, because the first time that we got to see them a couple years ago, it was in Jersey City.
Yeah,
and the crowd was really disrespectful. Just like people just like having conversations, like yelling over the songs like the entire time. And you had like other people that were trying to like, shush them, and it didn't work. It was a mess. It was a mess.
Weird crowd.
It really was. And we were kind of far back, so we got a lot of that. But this time, I mean, you had some issues, which we might get into if you want to, but but like this time we were like right up against the stage, and they played a really good variety of stuff, stuff from the new album, which I really love. It was just terrific.
I do have to. So, Michelle Zauner, the vocalist and like the, I guess, mastermind of Japanese Breakfast, her outfit was like something else. She looked like a fucking Final Fantasy character to me. Like,
yeah,
she was in this dress that was like almost like a hospital gown, but then also like sort of like a sun dress kind of thing. Is it the same thing from the like the album cover?
I would have to look at it, but it was on point. Like, it was fantastic.
It might be. But then
honestly, the entire band was very well dressed.
Yeah, but then she's wearing these combat boots with like buckles all the way up. She looked like a character from Final Fantasy VIII. I swear to God. It was pretty cool. And she was so excited to hit that gong for Paprika.
It's just such a great starter to the show. Like, it's perfect. I'm like, they set that thing up front and center, and it was great.
Yeah, it's just like I remember her energy from the previous show, and like I guess it's a theme. Like, she had a very distinct outfit for that. She was like almost like cyberpunk for that one, where she had like neon overalls.
I remember that, yeah.
And like a crop top. And she had just like this she's like a front person, like to the max, like the way she commands a stage, and yeah, like the way she was like dancing around like with this mallet for Paprika was just it was just so much fun, It
was, yeah, it was a blast. Like, she has so much style, so much energy, so much confidence on stage.
Yeah. And
yeah,
like,
just terrific.
The whole band, you can just tell like the musicianship with all of them. And this was the case for Mannequin Pussy too, because it was just like they're just all swapping instruments just like constantly,
Yep.
They can just kind of do anything. Where it's like Missy from Mannequin Pussy can, she's playing guitar while singing, and then she can just switch over to bass real quick while Bear can take over vocals, and and then for Japanese Breakfast, they had a saxophonist who was also playing keys in the back, and then Michelle
and he played saxophone on some of the Mannequin Pussy songs too.
That's right. And then Michelle is playing guitar, and then she can swap over to piano, and then the saxophonist is on keys, and then the other guitarist can also swap the piano, and like they're just, you could tell that they're like musicians through and through. And like the violinist can also like was doing backing vocals too. It's like they just, like, all the talent that was on that stage was just really apparent.
Definitely, yeah. And this is like, I think the tour started, I want to say last weekend, so they haven't been on the road too long.
Yeah.
So they're just like fully in high gear, like right off the bat.
Absolutely. But yeah, the set was great. The highlight for me was going from roadhead into slide tackle.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, oh my god, that was like, because slide tackle is like my favorite off of the new one. But yeah, that the energy for that was awesome.
Yeah, it's great because the band is like excited to be playing again, and people are excited to be watching it. Like, it's just a really good crowd. Like I was really looking forward to this, and it definitely like held up to expectations of being, you know, not being able to go to shows for 18 months. Like this was a perfect way to return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, well, we got some stuff lined up for the fall, and it's like, you got fingers crossed now.
Yeah.
With the way shit's going, but
I know. There is, I did see this morning in the news, and I forget which country it is, but they're going to start administering a booster shot of the Pfizer vaccine.
Interesting.
And then they're hoping potentially the US, the FDA could approve it like by the end of August.
Huh.
And the booster shot is supposed to be really effective against like the Delta variant and whatever other variants are running around.
Okay.
So, you know, that's hopeful.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we got to see.
It's a process. Yeah, it's a wait and see type thing. I didn't feel unsafe. I mean,
no.
You know the risks, you know the statistics.
Right.
You know, we're both vaccinated. Like you know the statistics and you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, it's just like the first time being in that environment, like in that situation, you know, because like all I do is I run errands, you know.
Yep.
Like this is the first time that like, you know, you're around this many people, and it's like there was no vaccine requirement or anything, or no negative COVID test requirement. So it's like
I brought my card with me.
Yeah, and it's like that didn't even cross my mind because I was just like, I have it, but it's like I'm vaccinated, so I don't even like consider that.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's like when we bought the tickets, there was like no information about vaccination or masks or distance, like nothing, no guidelines whatsoever.
No.
And even when we got there was nothing. It was just like, you know, like we went to a show, except this time I'm wearing a mask and so are some other people. Like
That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
That was the only difference.
Mm-hmm. It felt like I was transported back to 2019.
Pretty much, yeah. Except I just like added a fashion accessory to my wardrobe for some reason. So yeah, that was like the only thing. But you know, so I guess we'll see. Like if I develop a cough or something, then something happened. But it's like, yeah, you don't know like about other people. Like you never know if somebody is not wearing a mask because they're vaccinated and they feel okay not wearing a mask, or they're not wearing a mask because they say fuck it and they don't want to, and you know, or whatever. Then they're not even vaccinated. It's like there's no way of knowing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not asking for somebody to get like a forehead tattoo that says that they're vaccinated, but like, you know, there is no way of knowing, and it's a tough situation for everybody.
It is. Well, that was like the same issue that happened when the mask mandates were originally lifted a number of months ago, like with retail workers and stuff. They would become the enforcers.
Right.
And they were stuck in a scenario where it's like, you know, you have to deal with people who aren't wearing these masks, and there's just, like you said, there's no way to tell. There's no way to know where they've been, what they've done, whether they're vaccinated or not.
Yeah.
So I think people just need to shut up and wear a mask, to be honest.
It's not a big deal. I wore
it's
it
not
for
a big deal.
4 hours yesterday, and you know, it's fine. I'm like out of shape, and you know, like I got medical problems, and like, you know, I deal with it.
It's
fine.
really the least you could do.
Yeah.
Especially now this week with the news trending the way it is.
Yeah. It's like I'm doing it for me. Like I'm that selfish that I'm doing it for me. You know, like people say that they're doing it for others, and that's very nice. I appreciate it, but I'm doing it for me. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm like I don't know, like a reverse asshole. Oh, that sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Like, or
Yeah.
like there are assholes that are like saying screw everybody else. You know, and I'm saying screw everybody else, but I'm protecting me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but genuinely, like, I do have the concern where if I would just feel awkward if I was going into a public place and I wasn't wearing one and other people were, because it's like then they're feeling potentially unsafe, you know?
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. I understand that too. It's like, well, I like go to the drugstore and it's like, they're like to talk about the mixed messaging where they still have the sign on the outside that says masks required, and it's like, okay, you know, I was going to wear it anyway. But then you get in, and then they have like, you know, the rotating message over the intercom that's like, oh, CDC guidelines say that if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask indoors.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, what do you want me to do here in your building?
Yeah, it's very strange because I was in BJ's this morning and they have a couple of signs that says that face coverings are required, but they're clearly not.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
I guess they forgot to take them down. I don't know. Well, it might be that they're attached to like the carts that move. So maybe they were displayed prominently before and now they're just like
off to the side.
Yeah. But they're still well within, like you can still see them. Like they still stand out. So I have no idea. Mixed messaging is correct though. Like it's really hard to get a handle on what is expected.
Yeah. So then there's some people that just say, well, I don't know what the messaging is, so screw it, I'm not wearing it. And then there are people like us where it's like, I don't know what the messaging is, so screw it, I'm wearing it. You know? Like, so there's like a lot of different, you know, everybody's all over the place. It's, yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, I do say shut up and wear a mask, but at the same time, it is a little, like, the messaging. Like, if you have been vaccinated, you've done your duty with that, and you feel like you can go in public and you're comfortable with that not wearing one, then, you know, it's not against any rules, right? So, I don't know. I would personally recommend wearing one, but that's just me.
I know, but yeah, well then like Monday or whatever, the CDC is like, we think that vaccinated people should wear it indoors again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like, okay,
but that probably won't happen until the state requires it again.
Right? Yeah, yeah. They're like leaving it up to the states again.
Yeah. Yes.
So, yeah, it's a mess. It's really a mess.
Anyway, I didn't mean for this conversation about a really fun concert to turn into a mask deep dive.
No, but it's also about like the experience of like, you know,
it is
like these shows coming back, and this is going to continue to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, I'm the fall is a question mark again suddenly, you know?
Yeah, it is, sadly.
But yeah, it's like, thank God this happened.
I know. We snuck this one in there.
It's like, yeah, like you mentioned, and like Mannequin Pussy mentions, it's like this, we had this one night of catharsis.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I hope as many artists as possible are able to get a tour going and make some money.
Yeah, for real. And it's music release day. Speaking of, you wanted to talk about some new releases?
I did. I think since we were on the topic of music, I thought I wrote down some of my recent favorites, stuff that's come out in the past like month or two.
Yeah.
Because it's been an amazing last few months for music.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of great stuff. So I just thought, I would highlight a few standouts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if you have any too.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one I put down here, and you've probably listened to this, is Samia's new EP, Scout.
I had no idea that she had a new EP out.
Yeah, it came out last Friday.
How the hell did I miss that?
It's 4 tracks. It's outstanding, just like her album from last summer was. Yeah, I'm just like in awe of this artist. like just the way her ability, and let me know if this makes sense. Her ability to make you nostalgic for memories that aren't your own.
No, I get you. Yeah, I get what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think really is just saying that she's a terrific storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you obviously haven't listened to it yet, but
wait, you're telling me that there's a Fit and Full with Remo Drive?
Oh no, that was the album that she put out last year. She got a bunch of her like musician friends to cover every track from her debut album. That's a different thing.
That's just popping up now on Tidal.
Oh, you haven't heard that either?
No.
Oh, that's really good too. Yeah, so she came out, her debut album came out last summer, and then a few months later she got a bunch of artists and bands to basically she re-released the album but all covers from different artists, and Remo Drive is one of them. There's a handful of really good artists on there. And then most recently last week she came out with this new EP called Scout, which is terrific.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. The first track on it.
Library.
Yeah, the first track on it is called As You Are, and it's my favorite song of the year that's come out so far. Like she's able to hit this register with her voice.
Yeah.
In certain songs, and this is one of them, that's just like, it's chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like her album last year was a home run. This EP is terrific. I would recommend both of them.
You want to talk about a performer? Holy shit!
Oh yeah, and we saw her live. Yeah, terrific energy.
That was 2019, right?
Yeah, 2019. She opened for Remo Drive.
That's right. Yeah, that was that show.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got to get on that.
She stole that show from me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. She should have, if she doesn't already, she should have like a pretty solid headlining tour coming up, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would think so.
But yeah, so that's been great. Another thing I wanted to mention is this mysterious music collective from the UK called Salt, SAULT. Have you heard of them?
No.
So they have, nobody knows who's in this collective. They have made 3 albums in just over the past year. If you're counting the last 2 years, they've actually come out with 5 studio albums. Their most recent one is titled 9, like the number 9.
Mm-hmm.
And it's available online. I believe it's on all the streaming platforms, but it's also available for, I believe, a free download. And it's only going to be out digitally for 99 days, which I think means, based on when it came out, I think like the end of August, maybe into September, and then it'll be just like going away.
Huh. Interesting.
Which is, I'm not entirely sure the reasoning behind that, but it feels appropriate to me, considering like how urgent their music feels. Because a lot of their music is about like Black life and experiences and advancements and like social change and trauma and oppression. Musically, it is, they take influences from a lot of different things, like R&B. There's some funk, there's like dub, there's gospel, there's spoken word sections, there's even like stuff that's sort of loosely based on like children's rhymes in this latest album. And like that sounds like a lot, but it's also completely cohesive when you listen to it. Yes, like nobody knows who's in this collective, even though they are really like critically acclaimed. Like I think, I forget which publication gave like, you know how they have like their albums of the year lists?
Yeah.
I think 2 of their albums that came out in that last year like made their top 5. It might have been like Paste or one of those magazines. So like they've really like gotten a lot of recognition, even though that nobody knows like who they are. I should mention on this new album, there's a feature from Little Sims, who's a really good UK rapper. So yeah, just like really interesting stuff there. Like just hearing how their music has like evolved over the last few albums, and they just like they come out with them so frequently. And yeah, I mean, I would recommend, like, if it sounds interesting, I would definitely recommend checking out, because it is a free download if you're listening to this, you know, within a month or so after this podcast comes out. So that's been really interesting. I have some more, because there's a lot. There's been a lot of music that I want to just like shout out. But the new Faye Webster, and I know I've bothered you in the past about listening to Faye Webster. You probably haven't yet, right?
No.
No, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Not like intentionally, but
okay. Yeah, so her new one is called Bedroom Distractions. I don't know. I mean, it's she's kind of hard to describe. I feel like you would probably group her under, I mean, you've used this term before, but like sad girl music.
Sure.
But it's like sad girl music with really chill vibes. Like it's something that you could just like wallow in if you wanted to, or you could just like, you could like vibe out to it. Like it's up to you, depending on the mood that you're in when you're listening to Faye Webster, you know?
Yeah.
Like just like listening to her in interviews and stuff, she seems like just like the chillest person ever. And that's really like reflected in music. Like some of her older stuff you could almost call like alt country ish in a way.
Yeah.
But like the newer stuff is more, I guess, maybe R&B inspired.
Okay.
Yeah. So just like, she's one of my favorites. Her previous album from 2019, Atlanta Millionaires Club, is also a favorite of mine. Really great stuff. So yeah, if you're into the quote unquote sad girl music, this is definitely one to seek out.
Nice.
Okay, I should probably wrap this up, because I know you want to. But I do want to mention. I want to mention the new Claro. I guess you could also.
Sure. Yeah.
You could also, kind of. I mean, it's almost reductive to say it, but no, Claro. The new Claro is very interesting. Because she's gone in quite a different direction than she did in her last album, which was my favorite album of 2019. It was Immunity. Her new one is called Sling. She actually, I would definitely recommend, if you're interested in her stuff, I would recommend, there's a Vogue interview that came out recently where she really goes deep into like her, you know, mental space and what she was dealing with and going through during the recording of this. She went into like a cabin, like a secluded place in upstate New York, and she worked with Jack Antonoff, and she kind of went like 70s inspired, almost like 70s like indie folk ish. Oh, and it works incredibly well. And she, in the Vogue interview, she was talking about how like she was just touring constantly up until the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened, and she was able to like sort of like step back and consider what she was like doing to herself, and also what she really wanted out of like music, right? So that kind of like led to this sort of evolution in her sound, and it's just like it really paid off, because it's a fantastic album. And like all of the artists that I follow on like social media are flipping out over it too. So like don't take my recommendation, take like, any of their recommendations, because people are really loving it. All right, so the last two, Willow, which I texted you about this and you never responded back. I was very excited about it. No, I don't think so. I didn't get anything. But it's Willow Smith, you know, the daughter of Will Smith.
Oh. I think I saw that message. I didn't respond.
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
But anyway, so Willow came out with this new album called Transparent Soul, and she went 2000s pop punk. Like full-blown early 2000s pop punk. It's got Avril Lavigne on it.
Of course.
It's got like Travis Barker as well. Cherry Glazer is on it. Just a blast.
When's that
It's
full album coming out?
Oh, the Cherry Glazer one?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's a release date yet. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
She's putting out singles.
Yeah, I know. But she's on this one, and it's super fun. It's fairly short too. It's just like a big energy boost. Highly recommend. I've had it on repeat since it came out. It's just so good. It's like, I don't think she was doing pop punk before this album, but you would never know it because it's
was she the whip my hair back and forth?
I think so. I think that was when she was really young though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know she's like 20-ish now.
That makes me feel really old.
Yeah.
Like really old.
Well, actually, my next one, do you want to hear this? Rebecca,
God.
You won't see this coming. Rebecca Black.
Oh, okay.
2011, Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So Rebecca Black came out with a new EP a couple months ago.
Everybody's been waiting for this one.
Well, you know, it's great. It's a really great pop EP, like hyper pop EP. She's obviously like a much different artist than she was at freaking 13 years old in 2011.
Well, yeah, with that dude that made that song and video.
Like, I can't even imagine what that does to you at the age of 13 to have something like that where 150 million people like have seen the YouTube video and then you have all that like attention on you. I can't even imagine it. But yeah, she came out with a really great EP. Really impressive stuff. I don't have a ton to say about it beyond that, just that I like it. It's really good. And if Rebecca Black wasn't on your radar anymore, she probably should be.
Probably not.
Probably not. But she should be though, because it's really good stuff. Yeah. So that's I was excited about that. I saw like an article about it. I didn't know that it had come out, but I saw an article about it, and I checked it out yesterday.
You mean you weren't keeping up with all the latest Rebecca Black news?
No, I knew she was still like in the music scene, but I didn't know that she had put anything out.
They don't make her still perform that, do they?
I mean, I hope they don't make her perform anything.
Like, but, but you know what I mean. Like,
I do know what you mean. Yeah, like
like if she does a show.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe she embraces it. Maybe she's like into it.
Or like she could actually get like a real producer to do like a remix of it. Or like maybe. It doesn't sound like actual dog shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Or she could just keep making what she's making now, because it's really good.
Of course. But
yeah, I wanted to mention her and the rest of them, because there's so much good music. Like, it's hard to keep up, because today as we're recording this, we have the new Billie Eilish.
Of course,
we have Torres' new album, which I was not expecting, because she came out with one last year, which was a great album. Yeah, so much stuff.
Yeah, it's like so many artists seem to be like, I guess because they, you know, a lot of them have, well, most of them, all of them, I kind of quantified that incorrectly a bunch of times. They couldn't tour, so it's like a lot of them seem to have ramped up their production, you know. In the past couple of years. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it's been kind of like, this is kind of related to that. It's been kind of interesting to see like the direction some artists have taken to like try and do something for themselves during the pandemic.
Yeah,
like there's Shura is a pretty popular like pop artist, and she like took to Twitch streaming.
A lot of them did.
Yeah. And then, like, I know another indie artist that I like, Margaret Glaspie, at the beginning of pandemic, she was doing, like music lessons, like remote music lessons, which is really cool, like, stuff like that. Yeah, because I was telling you this, but I switched back to Spotify recently,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was funny because it's like now when you go to an artist page on Spotify, they have the choice of whether to like link to like a PayPal or like
Yeah.
a Cash App or something,
Yeah.
where you can donate like directly to them.
Yep.
Which on the one hand, great, like it's very easily accessible and it's right there front and center if you want to do that. But on the other hand, it's like, well, Spotify, I mean, you should be paying the artists more.
Paying them more, yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought that was kind of funny.
Yep. It's like, why are you putting it on, the listener
Exactly.
when you're the multi-billion-dollar
They're the multi-billion-dollar company. They're doing the best out of all of them, and they're paying the smallest percentage of like royalties.
Yeah, it's an absolute joke.
It really is. I kind of feel bad about switching back, but I did.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? I'll just shout out one real quick.
Yeah,
because
after my dozen of them.
I've talked to you about this, but the new Pom Pom Squad is album Death of a Cheerleader. I listen to this album like once a day. I love this album so goddamn much. It's so infectious and catchy, and like I don't know, I just love it. So like the whole aesthetic of it, the whole aesthetic of the band for one, and the way that they just carry it through the albums and the songs. It's incredible. And my favorite track, Red with Love, is just like so catchy, and it's only 2.5 minutes. It's just like, I love this album so much.
Yeah, me too. It's like a perfect aesthetic, and it's aesthetic with a purpose too. It's like subversive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like satire of, like teen, I guess almost like teen media.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. Which is funny. I almost thought about bringing this up on one of the episodes recently, but I don't know if you heard about that whole thing with Pom Pom Squad and Olivia Rodrigo.
No.
Yeah, like there were a lot of like I don't know if it was a lot, but there was a vocal number of like Pom Pom Squad fans that were upset about I guess Olivia Rodrigo's like one of her more recent music videos, and like maybe the cover for one of her singles. It was like prom themed, like prom / like Carrie, maybe not Carrie as much as like. Oh, what was the other one? It was like Courtney Love inspired.
Oh, I saw Courtney Love was trying to pick a fight with this teenage girl.
I wouldn't say she was picking a fight. I think she was more kind of like pointing out the similarities and kind of. No,
it seemed bitchy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And yeah, so it kind of sparked this whole discussion of like. Well, I mean, so I'll go back a bit, but the Pom Pom Squad fans were upset because it's like you have an indie artist who has been building this aesthetic for a number of years now, and then Olivia Rodrigo, who's like one of the most popular artists in the world, is doing this thing, and it's very similar. But it kind of sparked the question of like, can you claim to own an aesthetic, and especially one that has been used over and over again for a long time and sort of has come to represent like something that's larger than any one of them, like that aesthetic of like, the teenage, like the years of a teenage girl's life and everything that goes along with that. Like it's a very loaded thing, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I mean, I come down on the side of like, no, nobody's ripping anybody off here. It's something that's been in like pop culture forever, and it's used in different ways and for different purposes.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's like saying that just like using the image of a cheerleader is like ripping somebody off. It's like it's not tropey, but it's like it's bordering on it, where it's like the whole idea of like even the album title, Death of a Cheerleader. It's like the way that Pom Pom Squad is like using their whole aesthetic is almost Twin Peaksy, where it's like, yeah, of course the prom queen's dead. Like that's like, it's like this is how it works. Like this is the sort of, I guess it is a trope. It's the trope of like, this is, you know, the small town murder of, you know, the prom queen. Like, and Twin Peaks is the thing that turned it on its head, where it's like, this is the soap opera of it, but it's off. It's weird. It's wrong. And that's what Pom Pom Squad is doing with their music. So like, no, it's using familiar images.
Yeah. And it's taking a completely different approach than what Olivia Rodrigo is doing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's ridiculous because Olivia Rodrigo is literally a teenager.
Right. Yeah. It just seems like everybody is like, I haven't even listened to her. I think I've heard the one single of Olivia Rodrigo's, the one you sent me probably.
Yeah.
And it just seems like a lot of people are trying to like come at her because she like sort of blew up out of nowhere. But it's like, yeah, she's a teenage girl. Like,
yeah, this isn't the first thing.
Can you maybe not?
Right. This isn't the first thing, because like earlier this year, I saw when that single that I sent you came out. It's like everybody's like, oh, it's Paramore. And then there was that thing where the recent crediting thing where one of the tracks on her album, like they retroactively credited Taylor Swift as a writer on it, because I guess part of it was similar, and she admitted that she was inspired by a Taylor Swift song.
The more I think about that, the madder that makes me.
It's very strange.
Like
I can't recall ever seeing that before.
Like, no, Taylor, you didn't write it.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
how
think
many
it was...
how many young girls say that they're inspired by Taylor Swift?
Oh God, I know.
So is she gonna claim that she like owns them all?
I should say I don't necessarily know that Taylor Swift herself had anything to do with this.
But like what is the end? Like what?
There's just a lot of scrutiny. This
isn't a Vanilla Ice situation.
Right.
Like,
yeah, there's been a lot of scrutiny thrown Olivia Rodrigo's way. And I really don't think she's earned any of it, to be honest. She put out a really damn good debut album at like freaking 17 or 18, however old she is. It's,
yeah.
You know.
And you know what? This is actually like sort of getting at the fucking themes of the Pom Pom Squad album, is that like people idolize and grossly fetishize teenage girls, and then in turn treat them like shit, and kill them, whether it's literally or metaphorically. You know, like this is like what the whole idea of Death of a Cheerleader means, and you're like seeing it play out in, like, you know, in a famous case, and you see it all the time. You see it all the time with these young stars.
You know, when you put it that way, it's kind of sad that this was coming from Pom Pom Squad fans.
Yeah, no, completely.
Yeah.
Ay.
But you know, she's topping the charts, so
right. Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. But yeah, check out that Pom Pom Squad album because it fucking rips.
Definitely. Yeah, so there's an article from The Verge earlier this week about Major League Baseball, and so they've had an issue with sign stealing, which is I guess it's signs between. Well, who's doing the signs? Do you know?
Isn't it that's not the first base coach, or is it the dugout?
Oh, it could be the dugout. Yeah,
The dugout to the
base runners, or no,
I don't know who
or hitters.
Hitters?
I probably could have looked into it.
I don't know who's signing who, but I know there's signs between the catcher and the
pitchers
pitcher.
and catchers. Yeah.
But I think there's also signs that the dugout does.
Okay.
I don't know to who though.
Oh, actually, this might provide some clarity here. So it says, okay, so players found to be wearing this new receiver that we're going to talk about in a second while batting. So if you're wearing it while batting, you'll be ejected from the game. Only the active catcher and no other players or coaches can use this transmitter. What this transmitter is, it's a device. It's from a startup called PitchCom, and it is meant to put an end to sign stealing. And the way they're going to do that is they're going to use bone conduction technology.
Okay.
So that the device doesn't need to be up against an ear, and it might, in theory, be more difficult to eavesdrop on. Because what bone conduction does is it simulates the bones in your head instead of emitting any audible sound.
Right.
So it's a basic device according to this article.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
It's a wristband transmitter for the catcher with 9 buttons, and the buttons are there to signal the desired pitch and location. So I'm assuming the catcher has this little device, and the pitcher. Actually, let me see here. It says that the pitcher will have their part of the device in their cap. Okay. And like I just mentioned, they'll be using bone conduction to simulate the bones in their head, so that there's no way that anybody else will be able to hear this or pick up on the signal.
Like I've heard of like bone conductive headphones.
Mm-hmm.
But like this is so it's in the hat?
It's in the hat, and it's also in the catcher's helmet. Which I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why the catcher needs one as well if they're just doing the buttons.
Well, I guess they'd get signals back.
How though? Like telepathic? Because like the pitcher doesn't have a button device from what I'm reading here. Can the bones speak to each other?
So the pitcher has to start typing shit on his Apple Watch to send messages to the pitcher's hat that will hopefully be translated into intelligible.
Well, according to this article, using Apple Watches is not allowed.
I'm just saying, because this is just the fucking thing on the wrist.
It literally says that. It says
sure.
It's like it's technically legal to read another team's pitches, but using Apple Watches or telephone cameras and then banging on trash cans, which has happened in the past, is not legal, and they're trying to put
famous trash cans. Yes. I just don't like what is the pitcher hearing? So like there's buttons 1 through 9.
Mm-hmm.
So is he hearing like 1? Like what is?
Yeah, there needs to be whatever the sound is. There needs to be 9 different versions of it that you can easily differentiate between.
Yeah, like I don't get it. Like, or is it just like a fucking buzzing like on the top of his head? Because like I understand if it's like if when in the ear, like the bone stimulating earphones are like they're mimicking like the inner ear bone, whatever that thing's called.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the cochlear implants or whatever, and they can be helpful for people that are hard of hearing or deaf, I believe. They're like
right.
In some cases, like I think this is how like hearing aids work.
Yeah. Sound of Metal was a really good
I've been meaning to watch that, so that
provide a really good example of the cochlear implant. Yeah.
Okay, then yeah. So I'm just confused about like just plunking this on somebody's head, how this is going to be.
There just aren't many details about that. At least that we know so far. Other than the fact that you have 9 signals and that they will be received through your bones. Yeah. I just think it's wild. Like this in combination with the strip searching from earlier this year.
It's like the sticky stuff.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to briefly summarize that.
So if anybody's not aware, and this is funny because neither of us follow baseball, but
no, we don't.
So if anybody didn't know about this happening, there was a scandal that happened in baseball where pitchers got caught using like this sticky shit that they were hiding, some in their hats and some in their like belt area, to apply to baseballs to make them like have really, really high spin rates that would make them pitch better. So they could get better curveballs and whatever the hell. And this was apparently pretty goddamn widespread. And MLB found out through some leaked text messages and stuff. And so MLB decides that they need to crack down on this. And the way that they're going to do that is by, I believe it was whenever pitchers were pulled out of a game, the umpires would have to, in the middle of a stadium, check the pitchers to see if they had any of the sticky stuff. And that's what it was called. It was the sticky stuff, because I guess they didn't want to tell what the actual substance was, so it would not become more widespread.
Right.
And so that involved checking under the pitcher's hat, checking inside their glove,
unbuckling their belt,
and then unbuckling their belt and looking inside their pants.
Incredible.
To see if they had any sticky stuff in their pants. In front of an entire stadium.
Yeah.
Just absolutely insane. And there was a Twitter account that was compiling all of the checks. And so there would just be people that were the pitchers that were just like, screw it. They'd just like drop their pants. Like, it's like, this is ridiculous, People would lift up their shirts like, they're checking for a wire. Like, it's just absolute madness, absolute scenes. So baseball is really, they come up with the most convoluted, I guess, solutions.
I guess so.
To things.
I mean, in my mind, like, you take strip searching and you take bone conduction, and it's like you look at this and it's like, okay, maybe there's something fundamentally wrong with your sport.
Yeah.
Like there's something really wrong here. If these are what your solutions are and what you're coming up with on how to prevent these issues.
The fact that people need to resort to like all of this cheating in order to make it somewhat interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that all of these scandals are much more interesting than your actual sport.
I know. It's wild to me that they still haven't implemented like a clock, like a timer on like pitches,
right?
Because that
don't they have that in like college ball?
Yeah, they had it in college baseball, and I feel like that is the very least you could do, like the most basic thing you could do to improve like the watchability of the game is just have a limit on how much standing around is happening.
Yeah, and it's like apparently there's like this really exciting player. Is like, was it Shohei Ohtani? He's
no
like
clue, but sure.
He's like an incredible hitter, and then he's also a pitcher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's very rare.
Right, and so like this is like the one exciting player that's like this generational, this like multifaceted player, and it's like it's just overshadowed by all this bullshit. Like nobody kind of cares. It's like, yeah, you've never heard of him, and like
yeah, that's a real shame.
Yeah.
Do you know who he plays for?
I think he plays for the Angels, if I'm remembering.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hopefully it doesn't turn out that he's been using sticky stuff and stealing signals.
Yes. Yeah. He needs this bone. It says here at the end of this article, it says that the writer of this article wasn't able to find records for a startup named PitchCom, but one of its founders, Craig Filchetti, appears to be the same one who sells Pro Mystic wireless tech for magicians and mentalists.
Of course. Oh my goodness. We're pulling rabbits out of hats in Major League Baseball.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Such as a box of crayons that can wirelessly send a signal corresponding to the crayon that someone removes.
Wait, so how long until somebody starts using this new device to cheat?
Right.
Like, they'll find a way.
I'm sure it's probably just like fucking radio, and you can like have a receiver in the dugout and pick it up. Yeah.
Or get one of those the fans in the stands that listens to the game.
Yeah.
While they're watching it, but secretly like give them something to interfere with.
Yeah.
Very inconspicuous.
Also, what a lame magic trick.
Oh,
you pull out a box of Crayola and you ask somebody to pick a crayon, and then you guess what crayon they picked. That's the lamest magic trick I've ever heard of.
I mean, it's kind of impressive if you think about it, because it's like there could be cobalt blue, there could be sky blue,
no,
there could be ocean blue.
The box they're showing has 6 crayons.
Oh,
it has 6 crayons.
Yeah, that's not very exciting.
You got a 1 out of 6 chance of getting it right. It's not like a 200 pack.
Man.
I'll do that without the fucking transmitter.
I know.
If I get it wrong, oh, well, shit. I'll try again, double your money.
Yeah. You'll get there eventually.
1 out of 6. What a trick.
Yeah. So that's Major League Baseball. I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was funny.
Oh, MLB. What shenanigans will you pull next?
You'll hear it here first. Or maybe like 5 months after the fact. One of the two.
Next, they're gonna remember like the White Sox shorts thing. They're gonna like put them in like lederhosen or whatever, so they can't like stuff down their pants.
Oh man.
God. I know you put some reality TV stuff in here, but we're above an hour. Do you want to just do the beaver thing?
I was actually going to cut Big Brother.
Okay.
Because it's a lot. It's too much. It's too much. But I did. I mean, if you're giving me the window here,
I do want to hear about the beaver.
Okay. I mean, so it's continuity, right, on the show. Last week we dove into the first episode of Sexy Beasts.
Yes.
And we thought it would end there. It should have ended there.
I thought it would end there.
Yeah. So did I. But then I was looking around online, and specifically there was this AV Club article, and the headline was like, the beaver is Sexy Beast's most heinous contestant.
Heinous?
Heinous is the word they use.
Okay. So
I'm like, all right. And it's episode 2, so I didn't have to go very far. It's the very next episode.
Yeah. I mean, I think even if it wasn't, I think you could skip around. I don't think there's a through line in Sexy Beasts.
I would feel weird about it. I feel like I need to. I would need to see them all
You
in
need
order
all the
unless
supplemental material.
yeah, or else I'm missing something.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, I'm gonna dive back in. I'm gonna see what's up with the beaver. You know.
How many Leave It to Beaver jokes does the narrator make?
You know, too clever.
Yeah.
Like you
Leave
said,
It to Beaver is too clever
for this guy
shit?
for this show. Yes, 100%.
Oh my God,
100%.
that's depressing.
Yeah. But James, he really left he left nothing. It didn't come out right, but he left nothing. He didn't leave anything to Beaver. So all right. I mean, I took notes again.
Sure.
I really there's like a story arc to this one. So I mean,
God.
I could just tell you what makes him so absurd, but I do feel like I need to go through a little bit of this.
Well, I didn't watch this episode, so I guess I need to.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, you know, we all know the format.
We went over the format last time. Yeah,
we did. So James is the new Emma here. He's the new star of the show. The new host.
That's the next Netflix show. Is James is the new Emma.
Yes. And he's choosing between three women. But you know, before we get to that, James has to let us know a little bit about himself. You know, what he's looking for in a partner and everything like that. And what I thought was interesting here is that James is actually sort of like the antithesis of what everything that Sexy Beast is trying to do. You know, because it's the whole point of the show is to get away from superficial stuff and go right into like personality, right?
That's what they're claiming. But as we discovered last week, they're all just horny. Yeah, and you could say that James is the horniest of the bunch for sure. Because he's going to say right off the bat, he says, I quote, he says, I'm not going to lie. I'm an ass man. God damn. His motto, the thing that he lives by, and he's going to say this a number of times throughout the episode, is ass first and personality second. Sure. So directly in conflict with everything the show advertises. Yeah. Is there an option where the ladies could just be like, you know what? Nah. Well, it's interesting. I was a little bit hopeful here because one of the first women that we are introduced to is Tamiko. And so with Tamiko, we actually got into it's a new thing on the show. It's analytics. Okay. The advanced analytics of Sexy Beasts? Yeah, we have some advanced analytics of Sexy Beasts. We kind of are set up to... The sabermetrics. Yeah, based on Tamiko's dating history, we can kind of see what her success rate might be here. So she says that she's a serial first dater. And she averages 2 to 4 dates a week. And that's 2 to 4 first dates a week, I should add. And only about 10% of those she gives a second chance. Is she a statistician? She came prepared. And I kind of appreciate it. Because we don't get a lot on this show. Some of these women are doing work for this show, and totally. they really shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be. Totally. So yeah, that's the breakdown on Tamiko. 10% of her first dates that she goes on. She goes on them very frequently, but she turns 90% of them down. So that's going to be tough for James. Yeah. You know, it's a low batting percentage. It is. So James here, he's going to go on his first dates. They're back at that bar, the same one that we were introduced to last week. And he's a bit of a strategist himself, James is. So he's going to go in. He's going to be a gentleman, and he's going to push the chair in for each of his dates. But it turns out he has... At the bar? Well, yeah, I mean, they're not sitting at the bar. They're sitting at like a table this time. So they switch up the... I'm pretty sure it's the same place, but they switch up the seating. I see. It's possible that he asked for this because... Jesus Christ. Because he says
It was a great excuse to look at their asses a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god. Did they check them for like those creepy upskirt cameras?
They should have, because you
like,
could probably fit something into that beaver costume and hide it pretty well. So
yeah, now we got to unbuckle his pants and check for like Jesus Christ, dude.
Well, let's hope he doesn't have any sticky stuff on this stage.
No, like come on.
So then we get a random Chewbacca impression from James. I didn't really understand this.
That'll do it. That'll seal the deal.
There was absolutely no context to this.
Sure. I don't think there's a right context for unless she somehow said, "Hey, let me hear your Chewbacca impression." There's not a context. There's not a context.
Like, I wrote this down because it was so bizarre, because like they're talking about something, they're having a conversation, and the camera cuts and he does the Chewbacca, and then it cuts to them having a different conversation, and there's just nothing that like signifies why this happened.
Did it get a reaction or anything?
No, not at all.
What the fuck is this show?
Not at all. And then so then he puts his feet on the table.
What the fuck is he doing?
And he says, "Look at my kicks," because he wants to show off his shoes.
Okay,
and then,
what? You got the Jordans? Like what? Like what?
They could have been. I'm not sure. And then like his date's like, "Yeah, don't put your feet on the table." And he's like, "Well, I've just never had a formal date with a woman before."
Oh my god.
This dude that they cast.
Oh my god.
On a dating show. Has never
even if it's true, you don't say it.
And even if it's true, yeah, you keep that. But no, he has no filter. The one thing I won't say respect, because I don't respect James whatsoever. But the one thing I do sort of appreciate just in the context of the show is that he does not have any sort of filter.
You're telling me the guy that just does a sudden Chewbacca impression doesn't have a filter?
Yeah, surprised. But despite all of this, we come away with all three women being impressed after their first date.
What?
At least that's what they tell the camera. I'm not sure if they were coerced into saying this.
Impressed with what?
With James, with his personality and he's very funny apparently, according to these women.
Okay,
but
you know what?
Where,
hey, maybe
this is where the things start to really fall apart after this.
Okay.
Because you know how they have the first elimination.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tomiko is going to be the first eliminated. They did kind of set us up for that with the analytics earlier on.
Sure.
They don't lie. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
But the problem is, and she's about to reveal herself, like take off the prosthetics.
Right.
And James is sitting in between, literally just sitting in between the two other women that he's chosen. And he says out loud, "I pray to God she's not attractive because my heart would probably break."
Oh my God, dude.
And then she comes out and he says, "Wow, I make mistakes in life."
Jesus. Just say it to the camera later.
I know. No filter.
Later.
So that happens. Somehow these two women do not bail immediately. They go
they
on.
Must be the day rate must be very good.
It must be, yeah. The Netflix money. I hope it is for their sake.
for this ordeal.
I know. So they go on their individual dates. The first one is ice sculpting, an ice sculpting course. And this is
like the chainsaws.
Well, not chainsaws, but picks.
Oh.
And they tried to go metaphorical here, because they were having a conversation while they're picking the ice, and it's like, oh, we're breaking the ice, you know.
Haha, yeah.
And then he tried to do like a heart sculpture, and then it broke, and it's like, oh, foreshadowing, break his heart. But this is an interesting choice because the the crushing of the ice was so loud. And you're trying to follow the conversation they're having. But they're just beating on this ice, and it's very loud, and the mixing was not great. The audio mixing. So you just get a lot of crushed ice throughout this whole segment.
And plus they're in fucking masks.
And they're in mass. Yes, they are in mass. I almost had to think about that. It's become normalized to me now that they're all just wearing.
Yeah, you didn't even say what creatures they were aside from the beaver.
Yeah, it barely matters.
It doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't.
No. One of them I think was like a zombie.
Okay.
That was Tomiko was a zombie. Yeah, I'm trying to think the other two. I don't really know. But yeah, so the ice sculpting happens. That was Amber, by the way. And now we have the other person is Alexis.
Mm-hmm.
And she and James, they're going to go shooting.
Okay.
You know, they're going to do that thing where you like toss like a bottle up in the air and you try to shoot it down.
Isn't that called like skeet shooting?
Sure. They didn't specify.
I just think that's unintentionally suggestive.
Yeah.
These are terrible dates.
They're really bad. They're
Especially
worse.
if you want to talk to somebody.
Yeah, they're worse than last week. Definitely worse than last week. But James takes an opportunity to prove his competitiveness in both of these dates. So he
shot her in the face, Dick Cheney style.
Yeah. So he really made a point to beat out Amber in the ice sculpting competition. And he won because hers broke in half.
Of course.
And then he shot the most bottles out of the air, so he in his words proved his manliness.
Of course. Yeah, sure
this. Did. Yeah, okay. He also, on both the dates, he attempted the beaver kiss.
Okay.
Which I could word differently.
Okay. Oh, shit.
But what I mean by that is he tried to make out with both of them while wearing the mask.
And how did that go?
No success the first time. It shut down, but the second time he
like what did he just like lean in or did he like be like?
He asked first.
He asked, okay.
He did. He was like, basically, would you be comfortable with these beaver teeth? How would you feel about that? She wasn't into it.
Yeah.
But he was successful the second time with Alexis. So obviously, based on that, we know who's winning this.
Sure. Yeah.
There's no suspense here. He did, however, immediately ruin this makeout session with a high five.
Oh God in heaven! That's pretty sweet, bro.
Pretty much. So yeah, he's gonna choose Alexis. There's not a whole lot of suspense there. He does say
like
before
that's like the only criteria. None of it mattered. He's gonna pick the one that let him make out with him.
For sure.
Like,
yeah, that's really all it comes down to. Well, that and also this here, which is where he says before she comes out, he says, "I really hope Alexis is hotter, than Tomiko and Amber, so that he knows he made the right decision."
Dude, take what you can get. Like,
yeah, so
beggars can't be choosers. Like literally, come on.
I know. Well, the problem is he is choosing, and he's choosing to regret his decisions every time.
That too.
Publicly in front of the other women as well, because Amber comes out, the one that he rejected, and as she walks away, he says, "quote that ass, man, that ass." There's a pause, and he says, "I let it go."
Oh my God, dude.
So now we're waiting for Alexis to come in, their big moment. For some reason there's a close-up crotch shot on James has as much context to it as the Chewbacca impression.
What? Why?
So
he's stiff?
No.
Like what? Like what is the Are they checking? Like, is the MLB like shooting this?
Oh man, and it sounds like I'm making this shit up, but
it's like Boner Patrol. Like what is going on? Like what is this show?
I know. Yeah, because he's just standing there waiting for her to enter the room, and you just get that close up shot.
What the fuck?
It's not like a pan or anything. It's just a very quick cut, and you're just there.
Does the narrator address this?
No.
What the fuck is this show?
But we do have a happy ending here because he sees Alexis with her mask off, and he looks up to the heavens, and he says, "Thank you, Jesus." Because she's hot.
They're all hot.
They're all hot. Then we have an awkward moment where he takes his jacket off, right? She's wearing a dress. Yeah. He's wearing a jacket and like a suit and stuff. And so they're outside, I should say, too. So he takes his jacket off. You think he's going to do like the gentleman thing and like put it over her, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "I think you deserve this." And then he throws the jacket to the ground and he spins around and he says, "This is me." You won this.
Ugh.
He didn't say you won this. He just said, "This is me," and he like does a spin. But that's implied. And then they cut to Alexis like talking afterwards to the camera. She's like, "I did think he would give me the jacket because it's a little cold outside."
Oh my god.
And then, we get to the end here, which is where I feel like the arc really wraps up with a good learning experience for James at the end of all this.
And for all.
And for what?
And for all.
Oh, and for all of us, yeah. I mean, it's really invaluable stuff here. So he says at the end of all this, "This experience has taught me, don't look at an ass in the face and just automatically think she's about to have a great personality."
Yeah, man.
That's the lesson. And then he goes on to say that if it doesn't work out, I am definitely going to hit up Tomiko.
Oh my god.
Says that on the way out.
Something tells me it's not gonna work out.
Yeah. I don't know. I doubt they left the lots together. The Netflix lot. I doubt they did.
I bet they took separate cars. Yeah.
I'm sure they did. Yeah, so I mean, I see where this article came from, because this guy was an absolute nightmare.
Oh my god. Do they get less money if they like reject him at the end or something?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know if that like they even allow that, right?
Yeah, because like, ooh. Holy shit.
It would be a lot more entertaining for me if they would allow rejections. Like from the one person that's dating three, or from any of the three that are just like, this is not worth it, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, so that was the episode. We do get the quick teaser for the next one, which is the woman dressed up as a panda, and she's sitting down at the bar, and she's like, "What if I was like, I want you to fuck me in this."
Sure.
And so that's, just stay tuned next week, because I'll probably be watching that. No, I'm kidding. I'm done. This is it.
Yeah, but we said that last week.
I know, but this felt like a special case here.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
The story of James the Beaver. I really felt.
I'll check the notes on like Tuesday, and
okay.
I'll see something written here about Sexy Beast. Maybe you'll put it in like tiny font so I won't notice.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was that. That was the Sexy Beast minute.
Yeah, Sexy Beast report. Oh my god. We should probably wrap up.
Okay, you got like to nothing that you wanted to get to.
It's fine. It's fine. Because like everything else is probably going to take too long.
Right.
And these are all not time sensitive, so.
Okay, yeah, this definitely was what we just talked about.
Oh, of course, yeah. We got to hit the Sexy Beast iron while it's hot,
I you say that, but I checked the day after it came out, which is like, you have to wait until the next day to see if something comes up on the Netflix top 10. I didn't see it on there.
No.
I could be wrong, and maybe it popped up later on, but I didn't see it.
Oh, I would be very happy if it just fucking tanks.
Well, I should say, like, maybe part of the reason is because all the Twilight films were like taking up half of the list.
Sure. Yeah,
so there's that, but
and then also probably 3 Fear Street.
True.
Films. But yeah.
So at least we're giving Sexy Beast the publicity that it deserves.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's atrocious.
It's so bad, and it's just like the editing and everything. Like, yeah, what's like the crotch shot? Like that just like killed me. Like, and I didn't even see it.
I know.
Like, what is it? What is the point?
I know, it's wild. Like, I want you to see the Chewbacca and try to make sense of it, because is it because the beaver is like, it has the brown fur, so maybe he was going like that angle where it kind of resembles, not really, but maybe in his mind resembles Chewbacca? I'm
just wondering like what footage they didn't include.
Yeah. Because if that made the cut.
If they spliced that in and they just had crotch footage that they also just spliced in with no context to either.
Oh man, there's so much filler in these 20-minute episodes.
I know, that's the thing. So it's like, if this is what makes it, like what?
And how they managed to spotlight feet for a second week in a row.
They did?
Well, the feet on the table thing.
Oh, right.
I mean, he was wearing shoes.
Yeah. Who is like Dan Schneider like producing this? Like, what the fuck?
It's so bizarre. But anyway.
Jesus.
Anyway, that's enough of that.
That's enough of that. And that's enough of this show.
Yeah.
For this week. We'll be back next week. Thank you very much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. You can follow me everywhere at DeadEndRoad. Check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/DeadEndRoadTV. Check out the twitch.com/DeadEndRoadTV. YouTube, just search for DeadEndRoad TV. You'll find it there. I'm adding the podcast to more feeds and services. If there's one that it's missing from, please let me know, and I will do my best to get it available everywhere. I think we're on the majority of the major platforms at this point, but if there's something that you would like it to be on, I will accommodate.
He will personally send you an MP3 file if you request it.
Dude, I could do it. Like, if for whatever reason, like, because you could download it directly from the website, video.deadendroad.co.
Yeah.
If that somehow doesn't work for you, I'd send you the file. Like, yeah. I will make it work. Whatever people need. You're
like the old musician, like the old way they used to like try and promote their music by just like handing out CDs.
I'll burn a CD. Yeah, I'll burn a CD. Like whatever people need.
Stand on a street corner and just like pass them out.
Just like start hawking podcasts. Yeah. What else I got to promote? Oh shit, yeah. By the time this is up, the Dead End Road Publishing Christmas in July sale will be over. But I want to give a treat for the 4 people that listen. So if you use code SHIP21 at checkout, you can get free shipping for any order at publishing.deadendroad.co. Excuse me. Publishing.deadendroad.co. I figure, why the hell not? I will reward the minuscule number of people that stick all the way to the end of this. So, yeah, if you want to pick up a book and get free shipping, SHIP21 at checkout. Yeah, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back next week because I have some stories and stuff I want to hit.
Yeah.
Well, mostly I want to rant about fucking Funimation. So you want to hear me do that? Yeah, I'm gonna rail on Funimation for like probably 25 minutes. So yeah, that's a tease. That's what they call in the business, a tease for next week. Yeah, that's gonna do it for us. See you next time.
Bye.